This lesson, we're going to be having a look at simple interest. So when we invest money, to be honest, no one really invests money with simple interest, but it's a nice, easy way of calculating an interest rate, and it's the type of interest that you would do between friends, say if you were lending someone some money. We do this interest because the principle behind it is how we then do compound interest, which is the better interest, because compound interest means that as you go along each day, the interest that you got earned for that day gets added into your bank account, and the next day interest gets calculated on a greater amount. Simple interest just says, righto, here's an amount of money, we're going to work out a percentage of it, and we're going to times it for a number of time periods, and that's it. It's not complicated. So simple interest or flat rate interest, which is the amount of interest you earn. It's the same every year, and the interest is a percentage of the principal, and your principal is the amount of money that you originally invest. So you've got a formula. So I equals P times R times N. If you remember in algebra, if there's no plus or minus sign in between the letters, then it's a times sign. R is our interest rate, and we're going to write it as a fraction over 100, or you can write it as a decimal, and N's our number of time periods. You also need to remember, if you see PA, that PA means per annum or per year. So Chloe invests $6,000 at 3.25% per annum, simple interest for 4 years. How much interest will she earn? So our formula is I equals P times R times N. Her principal is the amount she invests, 6,000. Her interest rate is 3.25 over 100, and it is for 4 years, so we times it by 4. You type that in your calculator. And you get $780. Part B says how much will be in her account at the end of 4 years. So she started, so amount equals, she started with $6,000, and we add on the interest she just earned, which was $780. You can pop that in your calculator and you'll get $6,780 in her account. If we have a look over here at the next example, example 5, Roseanne is investing $9,500 at 4.2% per annum for 30 months. So this is a bit different. This is per annum, but this is 30 months. How much interest did she earn? We're still going to use our formula. I equals P times R times N. Our principal is 9,500. So what happens next is we need to decide what we're doing about our interest rate and our time. So the easiest thing will be to turn our months into years. So we'll keep our interest rate as years, so 4.2 over 100. And we're going to turn our months into years by dividing it by 12, because there's 12 months in a year. In 1 year. So we're going to pop that in our calculator. 9500 times 4.2 over 100 times 30 over 12. And we're going to hit our button to turn that into a decimal. $997.50 is the amount of interest that she earned. Here it says what percentage interest rate per month is equivalent, that means equal, to 5.52% per annum. So to work that out, a monthly rate equals the yearly rate, 5.52%, divided by 12, because there's 12 months in a year. So we do 5.52 divided by 12, and we get 0.46%. We kept our percent as units. Ranjan earns $420 in simple interest when he invested $6,000 for 2 years. What was the rate of interest? We're still going to use our formula, but this time they've told us he earned $420 in interest. He invested $6,000, and we don't know what the rate is when they invested it for 2 years. So to work this out, we're going to do two things. We're going to get rid of this by dividing by 6,000. We're going to do that on the other side as well. And we're going to get rid of this by dividing by 2. And we're going to do that on the other side. And when we do that, we will just have this R left. So in your calculator, you need to do 420 divided by 6,000 divided by 2. And we're going to hit our decimal button, and our interest rate is going to be 0.035. Now, the thing to remember is that in fact is a interest rate as a decimal. We're going to times it by 100 to turn it into a percent, and that is going to be, our rate is going to be, times by 100, 3.5%. See how you go with that? The first few examples, they're your easy ones to do. This example 7 is pretty hard, and so it's a bit of extension work. Exercise 1.02 is what I need you to do for that today.